All right, good morning, everyone, and happy Sukkot. It's great to have you all here. This is Kabbalah Café. This is our holiday edition, and it is great to spend this morning with you. By the way, those cheese buns are a little frozen, but by the end of the class, hopefully they'll be perfect. Perfect for dessert, exactly. All right, so I want to speak today about perpetual motion. And of course, we know that there is no such thing as perpetual motion in the sense that all energy at some point dissipates on some level, right? It's very hard to find something, a situation, a scenario where energy will continue on its own ad infinitum, in other words, like until, infinitely. Nonetheless, we're going to speak about that concept today according to Kabbalah and try to connect it with our lives and get some takeaways. So first of all, I want to draw your attention to this very large branch that I have. Right? Of course, we know that this is the lulav. The long branch is the lulav, which is the palm branch. And then you have my willows, right? The aravos. Hey, Frank, I guess you made it to the beach. Then you have the, beautiful. Then you have the aravos. These are the willows. They're a little bit dry at this point. The hadassim are the myrtles, the bright green ones. These are three of the species. And then we have the last one, which is the esrog. That is the citron. This is Esrogi Calabria, if you can read the box in Hebrew, which means it's from Calabria. Does anybody know where Calabria is? It's in Italy, on the Italian coast, meaning it's a designer esrog. This is not your made in America, This is not made in America. This is not made in China. This is not made in Taiwan. This is Italian designer esrog. All right. Smells like Gucci. Now, here is the deal. For the mitzvah, for the holiday, and for the mitzvah, we know that we take these 4 items, hold them together, recite a blessing, and do a little bit of a shake. I think the flies and the fish might be a combination. Yeah, we got to get through those locks. So you put it together, you do the blessing, you give it a shake one way, shake another way, you shake it in all 6 directions, which means northeast, southwest, and up and down. And that's how we do the mitzvah. We do it every day of the holiday of Sukkot. And there are a lot of commentaries on the significance of these 4 elements. A lot of commentaries on what they mean. So, for example, the lulav, let's talk about on a physiological level, on a body level. The lulav is likened to, who remembers this one? Spine. Good. The hadassim are likened to eyes. The aravos likened to the lips. And the esrog-ish is likened to the heart. Right? 4 elements. And it reminds us that to be effective human beings, you have to have a spine. You have to stand up for what's right. Eyes, you have to be able to see what you need to see, not see what you shouldn't see. Right? Look at the positive in the other. Don't look at the negative. Lips, right? Life and death, says the Talmud, are in the hands of the tongue, meaning the mouth. Right? What we say, what we don't say, can literally ruin reputations or lift up someone. I say this almost every time this kind of topic about our speech comes up, because I'm a firm believer in this, that all of us in our lives, a lot, or at least part of our self-definition of what we believe we can or cannot do is based on what others have told us, especially when we were young. Someone said, you're good at this, we might have believed it, and we might still believe that we're good at it. If someone said, oh, we're not good at it, the opposite. So the mouth is so powerful. And of course, the last item, Rabbi Freeman, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. And of course, the heart, right, is the heart of the matter, right? That's everything. But there's one interesting wrinkle that I want to focus on right out of the gate. And that is a very interesting and unique Chabad custom when it comes to doing the lulav shake. And I'm going to demonstrate it live and in person. Here we go. Ready? So here's how the Chabad custom goes. You take the items, you say the blessing, you put it together, and then as you extend, hold on, let some people into the Zoom. And as we extend it in the various directions, you extend it 3 times each way, you extend it out, but bring it back to the heart. Extend it out, bring it back to the heart. Extend it out to the heart. Out, heart, out, heart, etc. All directions. Some people, not necessarily Chabad, they'll extend it and shake it a few times in that direction, and then shake it in that direction, and then shake it. Chabad custom is all three shakes, you bring it back to the heart.
But you still shake it.
You still shake it at the end. You shake, you do a little treso, little shake, you bring it back. Little shake, bring it back, little shake, bring it back, etc. But you always bring it back to the heart. I want to speak about that idea today. It's in today's Hayom Yom. The Rebbe wrote a diary or a thought for each day, and that is the thought for today. So I want to focus on that notion. What is the idea of the back and forth motion? Outside, extending it outside the body, as it were, and then bring it back to the heart each and every time. The truth is, it's really reflective of the pulse of life itself. If you think about how life exists and how life is sustained, Mark and David, good morning. Good to see you guys. Good morning. So if you think about how life is sustained, let's just speak about the heart, like the actual literal heart, right? The heart works, and I'm no doctor, but I play one on TV, kidding, right? The way the heart works is expansion and contraction, right? It pushes the blood. How does it push the blood? Expansion and contraction. The heartbeat, feel your pulse, feel your heartbeat, right? Pushing, right? Opening, closing, opening, closing. That is the way, literally, life is sustained. Imagine if the heart didn't contract, if it was just an expansion mode. I don't know what that's called medically. There might be a name for it, but I'll tell you this, you can't live like that. Or if the heart was only contracted and didn't expand, also not a livable condition. It's got to open, it's got to close. When I say close, contraction, expansion, pumping, pumping, pumping. It can't just be totally expanded. It can't be contracted. Let's talk about, even something like, okay, this is not going to be whatever. Another analogy on this, but not to the same level. You think about video, right? Film. What is film? Right? Take out your camera, right? Take out your camera and you start recording something, right? How does that work? It's shooting video. It's not shooting video. Video is a lie. Video is a fabrication. What do I mean by this? Every video is shot at a certain frame per second, right? TV is shot at 24 FPS, right? Some cinematography is 30 frames per second. Sometimes it's like 60 frames per second, depending if you want to slow it down, right? Slow-mo, you need to have more frames per second to be able to slow it down and still have quality resolution. My point is that even when something seems so fluid, what really is happening is it's opening and closing. Think about the old shutters, right? When you took a picture, the aperture opens, closes. It happens super fast. In video, not necessarily is it opening and closing. I don't know exactly how this digital situation works, but the point is conceptually, it's frames per second. It's not continuous, it's frames per second, which means that on some level, there's expansion and contraction constantly. Let's keep on going. The mystics tell us, the Kabbalists tell us that, and by the way, I have a video, Kabbalah video, that has a lot of views on it on YouTube. And some of the comments are like, is he saying capitalist? Just to be very clear, Kabbalist, not capitalist. The Kabbalists say that God operates in the universe the same way. There's a constant flow of divine energy. Judaism, Kabbalah does not believe that God created the world and that's it. Once upon a time, God put this into motion and now he's playing 18 holes, golf, Pebble Beach, and that's it. And he's off duty. It's not the way it works. God is constantly empowering, energizing, vitalizing creation. Creation is a constant. One of the ways to understand this is using the following paradigm. The idea that something that is working against the very nature of its existence has to constantly be propelled into that new state of being. Classic example is throwing a rock or a stone into the air. The natural state of a rock is not to be flying. It's to be settled on the ground. The only time it flies is if you overwhelm gravity or whatever it is, its natural state of inertia, and propel it into the air. If you didn't propel it, it's not going to fly. Even if you did propel it once, what happens? It stops. It stops. Which means if you want to keep on going, you have to keep on pushing. The natural state of existence, our existence, is non-existence. The mystics tell us that this whole thing that we consider reality is all yesh me'ayin, something from nothing, which means before this something, this was nothing. Not that God is nothing, but this creation was not, it didn't exist before it existed. So something from nothing means that it's kind of working against its nature. Its nature is nothingness, is non-existence. And therefore, to exist, to force existence out of non-existence, you got to do that constantly. It's like to force a football into the air, it's got to have some force. And the moment the force ends, that's when it comes back down to earth, hopefully in the arms of your favorite receiver, if you're a football fan and that's your team, right? What's the point? There's a constant divine energy flowing through creation. In our prayers, in our morning prayers, we say it every single day. Hamachadesh b'tuvay b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh bereishis. We praise God and thank God, who in his goodness constantly and continuously renews the act of creation every single day. So this is where Judaism, and Kabbalah is a little bit radical. There's many people wonder, is there a God? Is there no God? Judaism, like, number one, of course there's a creator. How did everything get here? Obviously. Number two, it's not only there is a creator somewhere, the creator's flowing through everything. None of this exists without a creator. This table doesn't exist without the energy, divine energy flowing through it. Nothing exists. This is like the Matrix, but not exactly, right? It's not Keanu Reeves, the Matrix, but this is Kabbalah, the Matrix. Kabbalah, the Matrix means that although physical reality looks very solid and stable, there's a wooden post, right? This is a plastic table, right? This is whatever it is, a phone, right? All this stuff is solid, but flowing through everything is divine energy that's making it exist. And the way divine energy flows through everything is it pulses through it. This type of expansion, contraction, like a heartbeat. It comes in pulses and in waves. A burst of divine energy, and then it pulls back. And another burst, and it pulls back. Another burst, and it pulls back. In fact, one second, Yaakov. In fact, it says that there are 18, I think it's 18 chalakim, segments per, one second. Hold on. Let me get this right. 18 per minute. 18. What's 60 divided by 18? Who's got that math? You do the math? 18 portions per 60 seconds. I got my calculator. It's all good. So we do 60 divided by 18, 3.3. The burst of divine energy is every 3.3333 seconds. That is a chelik, a portion. That's why I don't know that this is the average respiration, which mirrors the divine energy. We breathe in a resting state on average of, like, the in and out rotation takes a few seconds. In a sense, we're mirroring the cosmic flow. I mean, think about it. I mentioned the heart before with contraction expansion. Well, what about the lungs? Right? That's definitely happening, right? Taking in air, right? We breathe in, we breathe out, we breathe in, we breathe out. Good to see you. We're doing breathing exercises this morning.
Nice.
Oded, did someone read the Hayom Yom in there just now? I'm glad you ditched them for us. It's a way better party over here. We're speaking about, just so you know, because it's very important. We're speaking about the Chabad custom in the Nanuyim, in the shaking, to draw it away from the body, a little shake, but bring it back to the heart every single time. Unlike many that do it and then just shake it away, right? Chabad brings it back every single time to the heart.
The shake is away, but then they bring it back.
Correct. Each time, right? 1, 2, 3 comes back to the heart. So speaking about the idea of expansion, contraction, and how that's the pulse of life. Anyway, you're caught up now. We just did it more elaborate. Hey, good to see you, Liliana. Welcome. It's perfect. We dialed up the right weather for this.
Yeah.
We do what we can. All right, so back to the story. So there's a constant pulse of divine energy, expansion and contraction. It's mirrored in our heartbeat. It's mirrored in our respiration, our breaths. It's mirrored in just the fabric of being, the fabric of creation. And by the way, neshama, which is the Hebrew word for soul, is related to the word neshima, which is the Hebrew word for breathing, breath. Neshima is breath. Neshama is soul. Sounds kind of similar, right? And when the Torah talks about how God imbues Adam with life, with a soul, what does it say? That he blew into his nostrils a breath of life. Why the nostrils? Because breathing, it's all about a breath. Breath is not once, it's not like you breathed once in your life. Imagine, I breathed as a kid and I'm good. I took a breath and now I have oxygen. It's not how it works. Constantly need to recycle. Not recycle, to refresh.
So why do we get colds?
This I don't know. The Kabbalah of colds, we'll have to wait for another week. That'll have to wait for another. We'll probably wait for colder weather to speak about that. But the idea here is that it's not just, I breathed in once, I'm good. No, it's constant. The same thing is true with divine energy pulsing through creation. It's not that God you could say, well, maybe God threw the football really hard and we're still flying, right? Maybe God, everything is spinning. Oh, everything is moving. Maybe God just spun everything like super strong and it's still spinning. It's not how it works. It's a constant expansion, contraction. There's a burst of energy and a withdrawal and another burst and a fresh burst every few seconds. That is the way the universe is sustained. Now, in the prophet, I want to say Ezekiel, I believe. Could be wrong on the source. But the prophet says, V'achayos, Ratzai v'shuv. The chayos are angels. The angels were running and returning. Ratzai v'shuv. Right? Moving outward and then coming back. This is the nature of all spiritual beings. There's a yearning and a return. And today I want to focus on what that means and how that's so impactful in our lives. So here's how it works. Everything, every living thing, every living being has to have a measure of expansion, has to have a strong sense of aspiration, of growth. Every living thing must grow. Anything that's content being where it is dead, right? Being content, being settled means to shrivel. So everything needs to grow, expansion. At the same time, it's healthy to have a return, a shuv. How does that work? It says the angels, because the original quote is about the angels. The angels, they want to get close to God or closer. They sense the light or the source of light, actually. They want to get closer and then they withdraw. They want to get closer, they withdraw. They want to get closer, they withdraw. This is the nature of reality. The nature of spiritual reality is getting close and pulling back, getting close and pulling back. It's the dance of, first of all, every relationship, but it's also a spiritual dance, a dance with the divine. Expansion, contraction, getting close and pulling back. And what this means on a very practical level is we can see in our own experience how there are moments that are built in. Certainly on the Jewish calendar, moments that are built in where we get closer. Whether you want to, refer to that, whether you want to apply that to Shabbat, right? Every Shabbat is a day of rest, a day in which we, stop working and stop like worrying about all the material stuff, and a day in which we connect with God. So it's a day of drawing closer. And then we have the rest of the week in which we're applying it and bringing it back. Or we can refer to the high holidays in the sense that it's a time for deeper spiritual connection. So Rosh Hashanah, we get close. Yom Kippur, we get even closer. And then we have to draw back. So there's always this dance between aspiring for something greater, aspiring for a deeper connection, for a higher connection, right? For closeness, and then drawing it back. The drawing it back is what's really important. So I'll share with you a story. The story is told, I believe it's either the Talmud or the Midrash. It says, Arba'a nichnas lepardes. There were 4 people who entered the orchard. Now, the orchard is the divine orchard, the orchard of mysticism, the orchard of spiritual, connection. 4 entered the orchard. 1 of them died. 1 of them lost his mind. 1 of them became a heretic. Only Rabbi Akiva, nichnas b'shalom, v'yatza b'shalom. He entered peacefully and he exited peacefully from that experience. The other 3, it didn't end well. So the question that the mystics ask on the story is, when it comes to Rabbi Akiva, the one rabbi who made it out okay, why does it say that he entered peacefully and exited peacefully? It should just say he exited peacefully. That's the point. The point of the story is that whereas 1 guy died, 1 guy lost his mind, 1 guy became a heretic, Rabbi Akiva emerged okay. Why does it say he entered in peace and left in peace? The fact that he entered in peace, obviously. The mystics say that's the key to exiting peacefully, is entering peacefully. Meaning, if the intention in the experience of closeness is to lose yourself in the experience, you might actually lose yourself in the experience. If the intention is to get closer so that I can then integrate it in my daily life when I'm not in that state of spiritual ecstasy, then it's going to be a productive experience. Are you with me on this? If I go, let's use a simple example. Like a week ago or so, more than a week ago, we experienced Yom Kippur, which is not only a day of atonement, but a day of at-one-ment, a day that we are the closest with God, at least on the calendar. A person, you can always be close with God, but at least on the calendar, it's the day of closeness, day of divine intimacy with the divine. You know what happens often? Again, just speaking very, very pragmatically, what happens often is that people have very inspiring Yom Kippurs, and by the time Havdalah is recited and the fast is broken on a bagel or something, it's done. It's finished. And the next morning comes around and it's the same as before. And nothing changes. And so the question could be, I think, validly asked, well, what was the point? You had 1 day of like feeling all spiritual. I'm not eating. I'm like an angel. It's like the story that's told about the wagon driver. The Baal Shem Tov, the founder of the Chassidic movement, he was considered to be a miracle worker. Baal Shem Tov tells a story that he used to get into wagons, tell the wagon driver to turn around, and the horses would fly, not in the air, but they would kfitzat haderech. They would cover huge amounts of space in a very small amount of time. So it turns out that one time this was happening. This is like the getting inside the mind of the horse. And so the horses are thinking to themselves, wow, we're going pretty fast. It's pretty cool. And then the horses are thinking, well, we're not stopping for food. Well, maybe we're like humans that don't need to eat as often as horses need to eat. But then they keep on going and they're still not stopping and they're going super fast. Like, well, maybe we're like the lower level of angels that don't even need to. Maybe we're like, they keep on going and they don't stop. Maybe we're like the higher level of angels. Maybe, and they start thinking like maybe we're angels, and then they get to the destination. And then all the way at the end, you know what happens? They stop and they put out the food and the horses are eating and they turn to each other and say, well, I guess we're just horses as they're eating the oats. Sometimes we think like, oh, we're so spiritual. Yom Kippur, we're not eating. We're holy. We're like the angels. We're higher than the angels. Ne'ilah comes, the Torah, the ark is open. We're praying, we're crying, we're laughing, we're dancing. We're holy. And then the next morning comes and we feel like horses again. And the question is, did anything change? And it's not, did anything change? But if nothing changed, what was the point? Just to have a day to feel holier? What's the value in feeling? Is there value in feeling holy? Either you change or you didn't change. And so I would argue that the story of the 4 who entered the orchard and 3 didn't emerge is the same story that many of us experience on Yom Kippur. What does it mean? We entered the orchard and we didn't come out, meaning we didn't take anything out of the experience. We got lost in the experience. And then what? It's like a day that's like cut off from the rest of the calendar, and it's like just floating in outer space. If you enter in peace, you can exit in peace. What does shalom mean? Peace mean? Integration. If you enter with a very specific intention, this day is not just going to be a day in which I feel holy or I feel connected, but it's a day that when I feel connected, I will make positive resolutions that are actionable to take into my tomorrow. Then when you emerge from this heightened state of, spiritual ecstasy, you might have a chance of actually integrating with your tomorrow, but not if you're not thinking about the tomorrow. You with me on this? Does that make sense?
I understand that point. I don't understand so much the connection to the Sipur on the 22 Chodesh. We're talking about 4 great rabbis.
Yes.
Probably knew what they're doing, and they went in. I mean, one of them that became the heretic is actually a great rabbi that continues to do stuff after as well.
Right.
How? That's like, did they not know what they're going through? Did they not have huddle up with Rabbi Akiva before? This is what we're going to experience.
It says only Rabbi Akiva nichnas b'shalom v'yatza b'shalom. How do we explain how the other ones didn't? I don't know. But to me, that idea. So to answer your question, I don't know. And it's not an indictment on those other 3, right? It's not about them. It's really more about the takeaway that we can take in our own life. It's not about anyone else. It's always about, not to sound narcissistic, but it's always about the application. We're not learning just stam to learn about point fingers at someone else. There's no value in that. It's always about us, right? What do I learn from this? And I think there's something powerful about recognizing that, yeah, it's possible to get lost in an experience and not have a follow through. It's possible. It's not only possible, it happens all the time. It's like, it's even on another example, a wedding. Huge celebration, so much planning, so much simcha, so much joy. Guess what happens the next morning? Now you're living with someone, right? Now you got to figure it out on the ground. Mazel tov. After the lights go down and the band is back in their car and the flowers are cleaned up and the caterer is out, after all that, now it's real life. Now it's real life. Or having a baby, right? So much simcha and joy. I remember taking Nassim home for the first time. It's like, okay, now we got another one. Now it's not just 2, now it's 3, and it's real. If you can pull from those heightened spaces, those heightened moments, and pull the energy into the everyday moments, that's when you've made the connection. That's a spiritual win. If those remain cut off, isolated, lobotomized from real life, then I'm not going to say it's a waste of time. No such thing. But it's a missed opportunity. It's a severely missed opportunity. What I'm trying to say is, v'achayot ratzo v'shuv means that the angels, when they run, they also need to come back. When we take the lulav and we're aspiring for a closer connection, you got to bring it back to your heart. How is it going to change my life? How is my life going to look different after this holiday? If after the whole month of Tishrei, filled with Rosh Hashanah, the New Year, Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, Sukkot, the Day of Celebration, Simchat Torah, the day of the greatest joy, if after 30 days of Simcha, or as Oded likes to call it, 30 days of not being able to work, right? Because every day is basically a holiday, or one day in between, or Shabbat, or getting ready for a holiday. If after all this, the only thing that's different is in the Amidah, we say Mashav Haruach instead of Mora Hatol. If that's the only thing that changed, that we're asking for rain instead of dew because the season changes on the last day of the Chag or second last day of the Chag, if that's the only thing, that's a wasted opportunity. If all of the preparation of Elul and all of the, solemnity, is that the right word? Being solemn, solemnity, whatever, of Rosh Hashanah, and all of the ecstasy of Yom Kippur, and all of the joy and celebration of Sukkot leads to nothing different in our lives, that's a bracha levatala. That's a wasted opportunity. That's like going into the orchard and having nothing to come back with. It's a wasted opportunity. Meaning, again, in Kabbalah, there's a very strong emphasis that every rush needs to have an application. Every yearning needs to be grounded, right? Every expansion needs a contraction. Now, you can't stay contracted. Oh, I'll be so grounded that I'm never going to peek my head above and see anything else. That's also not good. You're going to run yourself into the ground. But you also can't float like a helium balloon. You ever have that happen? Just happened in my house Friday night. Not one of my kids, one of my sister-in-laws, whatever. A niece turned 14. We celebrated Friday night in the sukkah. There was a birthday cake. Attached to the birthday cake was a balloon. Of course, when you have younger kids around, what do? If there's a little helium balloon, they bop it, they hit it, it separates from the thing, and now it's currently in my kitchen ceiling, and I have one of these pitched ceilings. I can't get it down. I mean, I'm sure I could, but whatever. Waiting for it to fall. I told my kids to get one of the sticky hands, and then you can get it, or something like that.
Sling.
I'm trying to make this less complicated, not more complicated. I'm not looking to make this the most complicated way to get down a balloon from the ceiling. What's my point? My point is, hey, Ramon, good to see you. Welcome to the sukkah. Listen, Ramon, we dialed up perfect weather. I'm just saying. So just to clarify, I can't speak. If our moments of inspiration are like the helium balloon that then separates from the not rope, what is it? String. There you go. I knew there was an English word for that. From the string, then it's a bracha levatala. Then what's the point? Then it's floating off into the ethereal realms. Great, wonderful. I don't have a balloon now. I lost my balloon. I don't mean this literally. It wasn't my balloon in the first place.
It's out of reach.
What? And one could ask, what's the point? Not about the balloon, but about our experience. So we felt good. For 3 hours, we felt really, really, really connected. We felt like really, like we had an epiphany when we held our child for the first time, an epiphany of, I would do anything for this child. But then the next day we went to work and we didn't have time. So what's the point? That we felt for a moment, we felt our values, but we didn't live our values. So what's the point of feeling the values if we don't live it? And this is not, I'm not asking this externally, I'm asking this to myself also. Meaning I'm primarily, right, we always speak to ourselves, and then maybe you guys are listening to an internal conversation. The point is, if we get excited about things, but don't integrate, if we have just the ratzo without the shuv, then what kind of experience is that? Yeah.
I think it's very similar to something that I once heard about, like, why are you, like, somebody that experienced a miracle or a great, even we saw it through history, and then, 40 days later or whatever days later,
literally,
because you cannot base your faith and your good deeds that you're going to do based on that one experience. It's going to wear off eventually, and if you actually don't do everything that you just said,
let me explain what you're saying, so everybody make sure everyone got it. How is it that after revelation at Sinai, after God appeared to the Jewish people on Mount Sinai and said the 10 commandments, including I am the Lord your God, number one, and number two, do not have any other gods, 40 days later, they made a golden calf and are dancing around it? How is it possible? And the answer is, as I always say, I'm surprised it took 40 days. Because most people, it's the next morning. Oh, I know it to be true. I know this to be, you're the love of my life. The next day, it wears off. It wears off. The key is integration. You need those moments. You need to stretch and to feel bigger and more. You have to have those moments where you ascend, but you also critically need the ability to integrate, to bring it back down.
So the angels going back and forth.
Yeah.
So when we're told either by Kabbalistic sources or Brian Weiss MD, don't follow the light because it feels so good that we have literally no choice but to just get into heaven.
Sucked in.
We get sucked in and we can't stop going forward. So what gives them the strength to stop going forward? Is it because of their own volition, or does God prevent them from continuing to go higher?
I'm pretty sure, and I've spoken with we saw Rabbi Friedman, Rabbi C. Friedman, the legend, was walking through the sukkah before. Oh, he's really okay. So his wife, Mrs. Nomi Freeman, speaks extensively about near-death experiences. And I haven't heard her speak on this in like a few years. So it was the last time I heard her speak about the topic, but I've heard her speak a few times in previous years. And my recollection, she can obviously speak more accurately than my recollection. But my recollection is that it sometimes takes a lot of resistance, personal resistance. Sometimes the person is told, go back, but there's a lot of sometimes personal resistance. But it's almost like the same thing I'm saying, meaning that it's very attractive to get sucked into the Ratzo experience without landing gear. Of course, feels so good, untethered, right? Cut my string, scissor man, so my balloon can soar. It feels great. It feels great to soar. And then when we're done, we got nothing. We crash. By the way, there's no more an empty feeling than knowing that you soared and have nothing for it. There's no emptier feeling knowing that you just had this amazing experience. Nothing. Think about it. Joy, pleasure, ecstasy, spiritual, physical, whatever it is. And then afterwards, nothing. No connection, no grounding, no integration. Now what? There's no emptier feeling than the one that comes after the Ratzo that has no shuv. If you never had that feeling, okay, you're in one place, but you're touching heaven, and now you have nothing. So the key is, how do you bring that back down into your? So again, on a simple level, make sure that on your Yom Kippur, on your Sukkot, you're thinking about the day after. What's that going to look like? Yeah.
You know what? In my mind, it translates to, if you translate it to dollars, then it's literally proven. If you go to a casino and you didn't work for it and you're winning money, or you won money in the lottery, 99% of the time you lose that money. You can't keep that.
It's not integrated.
You didn't work for it.
Yeah.
You didn't put any effort. It wasn't something that you grinded day in and day out to achieve. So the meaning of it, when you get it, it's a great high, but it doesn't translate later on. Right?
Easy come, easy go.
Is that bread of shame?
Yeah. Yeah. Nama de chsufa in the Aramaic, bread of shame.
What is that?
Nama de chsufa. It's Aramaic. It might be related. Bread of shame. It means when you get a handout, but you didn't earn it. Which, by the way, I mean, with all due respect to our efforts on Yom Kippur, really, it's the day that brings that energy. We're catching the ride on the wave, right? I mean, Frank may be on the beach, but like we're all catching the waves, right? You catch the wave. And by the way, doesn't Yom Kippur could be a Kabbalah class Sunday morning in a sukkah, which I'm loving. By the way, like how do we sign up for every Sunday like this? This is perfect. I mean, bli ayin hara.
I'm glad you said like it's about the day too, because like I'm like found myself trying to recapture sort of the feeling and the world I was in Yom Kippur. And it's like I can't, and I'm like, and I knew even going into it that part of the reason we're even able to do this in the first place is because of the energy in the day and the collective souls and stuff like that in the first place.
In the language of Jewish law, itzumo shel yom mechaper. The essence of the day is what brings the atonement. It's like there's something about the day itself that brings that energy.
So if we're coming off a hard fought or hard attained, spiritual, I guess, advance, energetically maybe we're better, and yet, so I just did this whole thing for months. So now I'm just searching. Now what? Because are we supposed to be bittul? Are we supposed to be just completely no ego and allow the inspiration for direction? Because we're asking for direction, we're asking for action, we're asking for courage to go a new path. But what is the new path?
So I would say like this:
is it bittul on one side, or is it on the other side developing all of our zehut and all of our characteristics so that we naturally, have the love that we had right after Yom Kippur, and the happiness after Rosh Hashanah, so that we can continue to have that.
I would say this: every day, all of us here, every day can experience a mini Yom Kippur, or a mini Rosh Hashanah, or a mini Sukkot, or a mini Simchat Torah, or a mini wedding, or a mini birth of a child, or a mini whatever it is. What does that mean?
The child would be hard for some. Speak for yourself.
Listen. Here's what I mean.
Multi-talented.
Technology. Every human being has the ability to take time each morning to pause and focus and think and pray and open your heart and connect. It's literally built in. I mean, Judaism's been around for 3,300 years. And it never ceases to amaze me how brilliant what the built in. You don't need any aftermarket, like, oh, let's add yoga. You can add yoga, that's fine. But you literally have built into the Jewish fabric of life everything. Gratitude meditations, right? Prayer, focus, study, all of this built in the morning. It's like everyone's like, oh, you know what we should do? We should take one day off a week. Listen to this. Think about how crazy this is. And unplug from technology. And we're like, oh, I see you guys have come around to it. We call that Shabbos, Shabbat. It's amazing. Oh, we're going to go on a retreat. You're going to pay $30,000 to essentially have the ability to hand in your phone. Okay? Let me save you that money. Just keep Shabbos. From sundown Friday to nightfall Saturday night, take your devices, turn them off. That's it. Walk, be outside, connect with family, connect with friends, connect with the community, open your heart in prayer. That's it. And it's like, you know how healthy that's going to be? Oh, modern psychology. You know how healthy that's going to be? What's my point? My point is not to say, oh, yeah, we had that before. That's not the point. The point is to say every day can be a Yom Kippur. Every Shabbat can be a Yom Kippur. What is it? It's a day of connection. So great. Take whatever amount of time you want to do. Start small and build it up. You want to take 20 minutes, take 10 minutes, even 5 minutes. Get spiritually connected. And in that experience, don't get lost. Don't cut that balloon. Think about how my day is going to look a little bit different, being informed by what I feel right now. If I feel connected, I feel my values, I feel my community, I feel my love, I feel my whatever, my relationships, how is that going to make how is that going to impact, inform, direct my day? That way we have both the ratzo and the shuf. We have the expansion and the contraction. We have the tension and the resolution. We got both. But we live a day that's impacted by you don't have to wait once a year to get excited. Get excited every day. but bring it back into the everyday. That's the key. And by the way, that's the way it's designed. There's micro and there's macro. Every day you have a little bit of spiritual excitement, and then you get to work. And within the week, 6 days a week, work, but 1 day of spiritual excitement, and you get back to work. And then you have once a month Rosh Chodesh, and they have once a year Rosh Hashanah. It's always micro and macro, right? Do it on your lunch break. Take 5 minutes, listen to a Torah class, and pray a little bit. Mincha, yeah.
So what do we do with this, the I? Is the I sometimes is the actual problem. Is that something that we have to get rid of so that we can get connected to God? Okay, connect to God.
So when it comes, so to answer the question in short, prayer, tefillah, the order of the prayers, if we follow it through, addresses the question. First thing we say when we wake up in the morning is, Modeh ani lefanecha melech habayim. I acknowledge. Modeh is almost like concede, right? I concede, I surrender to you, God, for giving me life this morning. Meaning, I know that the fact that I woke up this morning, I didn't do that. It's that you gave me the ability to wake up this morning. You returned my soul to me once again this morning. Right? Sleep is 1/60th of death. It's a taste of death, mini death. The fact that I woke up today means came back to life on some level. God has done that. And so that's powerful. You're surrendering the ego, surrendering the I, first thing. And then we continue with the blessings. The ability to stand up, the ability to walk, the ability to see. Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. So it's all about surrendering that, recognizing the truth. But then we get back into our day and we have to assert the I. We have to be effective in this world also. But governed by but with the recognition of who and what we are and who and what God is and our place in reality, our place in the world. So there's a balance there. I don't know if we can get into the fine details of it, but it's all in the formula. It's about unpacking it.
I was going to say, when you were saying that it was great how all these things are kind of built into Judaism, I've met a friend who had visited from Florida, and she was saying that she had got into Buddhism, and she felt that just the act of her just kind of getting up and chanting basically things about how grateful she is for life and how much she loves what she has. She's like, this has been so life-changing, and she's like, it's something about speaking it. And now, obviously having studied Kabbalah a little bit, I was like, oh yeah, of course. There's it's not even almost about the words you're saying so much as the feeling you have and being grateful and expressing that out loud, being so powerful.
And then again, the key is to integrate it so that we don't. It's like, I felt so grateful, but the guy just cut me off in the highway and I'm going to chase him down, right? And like cut him off. Because then what?
Then you're stuck.
Because then what?
You're not supposed to do that.
I literally had this incident. I was taking my kids Thursday. We went ice skating. I took the kids, Chalamo trip. So I took them ice skating. The rink over here was closed Thursday. Yeah. I guess public skate. It was closed. So I took them to Marietta. Drove a half an hour to go skating. Anyway, we're driving and one car, like, right by on Roswell before you get to the 285, turning left.
Copeland.
What is it?
Copeland Road, north side.
No, right here, right like
the ring.
Yeah. Well, center ice, center ice ring right over here. Right. So right when you're turning left. So a car cut. So we're going this way, right? This way. A car. So right next to me, there's a car, cuts off a truck. The next thing you know, both of them are giving the gesture of non-affinity toward each other. My kids are in the car and they're watching this. Both are out the window. It's like, it feels like New York at this point. I'm like, what is happening here? And it just reminds me how easy it is to lose your cool. We spoke about anger last week. I think last week. Anger management, Kabbalistic anger management. But without getting to those fine detailed tools, the bottom line is it's so easy to go from I feel so connected, I feel so loving to I hate you, right? I wish you were off the road. And how can I make that happen? We can go so quickly. The key is integration. So I want to share the following, that this tension has been felt by human beings since time immemorial. The tension between, am I supposed to strive and aspire for a higher connection? Am I supposed to be grounded? Like And we find that people have struggled and oftentimes have taken one side or the other. There are spiritual paths that by and large are about escaping, that are about leaving this behind and going higher. It's about prolonged meditation. It's about leaving the physical. And the more you surrender or leave the physical, the higher you are, the higher level you are. That's one approach. That's the Rutso heavy approach. And then you have the opposite, the Shuvah heavy approach. And that's eat and drink and live today because we're gone tomorrow. So just enjoy it. Life is a party. That's it. It's more of the hedonistic approach. So you have the asceticism approach, the ascetic of like shun everything, shun physical material life, shun work, shun family. I don't mean shun, but like none of that is important. All that is tethering us down. Shun the body. It's all about the soul and meditation, and then you have the opposite, as I just said, which is the leaning into the groundedness. So grounded, you can't even get out. Kabbalah emphasizes the marriage of both and how important it is to have a healthy balance of both. Don't go too deep on that end. Don't go too deep on this end. When we stretch, it's got to. Thank you, Monica. Thanks, Monica. So when we stretch, it's always about the integration, coming back. It's never about getting lost in the high. It's not about going to the mountaintop, right, and meditating and sitting in a pose or this or that or the other, and then completely forgetting about reality. There's one day a year. It's never a prolonged experience in Judaism. I mean, that happens. We're supposed to be doing on some level that when we pray, to have the right thoughts in mind, the right intentions, a bit of a meditation, when we study. Like the one day a year in which it's 24 hours, 25 hours, Yom Kippur. Otherwise, short bursts of that. And then to bring it back. But to never get lost in the physical experience. And there are ways to make sure that we don't get lost in the physical either. How do we make sure not to get lost? Before we eat, we say a blessing. We never get lost in the physical because we know that even as we're enjoying the physical experience, there's always a higher purpose here. So we're marrying the spiritual with the physical and the physical with the spiritual. That's, I think, I'm not going to say that Judaism and Kabbalah has the exclusive on it, because I think that to some extent it exists in other traditions and practices. And I'm not that familiar with other practices, so it would be ignorant of me to say that this is unique to Judaism, but it's definitely something that is emphasized extensively in Judaism and Kabbalah, the idea that it's all about the integration, bringing heaven and earth together, bringing soul and body together. It's not about one or the other. It's not about favoring one or the other. Again, you would think that a spiritual path would say, oh, it's all about the soul. Not Judaism. I mean, open up the Torah. 613 mitzvot, all physical. Take Pri-Eitz Hadar, Kapot Tamarim, Arvei Nachal. I missed one, right? Take these 4 things, put them together and shake. Wow, that seems really spiritual. What's up with that? Seems weird, a little strange, right? I love this branch of Judaism. Anyway, what's the deal with that?
I love how you just moved on.
I just moved on because it was like,
You didn't even need feedback.
yeah, I don't need the feedback. I smiled internally. But like, what's this? Matzah on Passover, Shofar and Rosh Hashanah. It's all about the physical mitzvah. Every spiritual experience needs to be grounded. If it's not grounded, it's not real. If a tree falls in the forest and no one's around, did it make a sound? I don't know. But for sure, no one heard it. But no one heard it. And so what impact does it have if something happens and it's not felt? So souls without bodies, souls in heaven, it's a different experience. Souls in heaven, they might have the Ratzo, and whatever. I guess on their own level, they also have to show the return, like the angels. But for sure, us, human beings of flesh and blood, absolutely we need the ability to return. Not only the ability to return, we need to bring it back and integrate it. That's the deeper idea of the lulav. We go out, but we always come back. We go out, we always come back. Finding God, where's God? God's everywhere. God's amazing. We're connecting. It's like, beam me up, Scotty. Like, let me hold, E.T. come home. I don't know, whatever it is. Like, holding device. I'm catching the game right now. Like, tuning fork, lightning rod, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, never forget. Bring it back to your heart. Got to integrate it. If it's not integrated, what's the point?
Question.
Yes.
So I struggle sometimes with what I learn and what I want to integrate, but how do I make use of it for other people? Because I talk a lot to my family, my close friends, and I try to share with them what I've learned and what I'm doing. And I can tell with some it resonates and with some it doesn't. Do I have a responsibility to share or do I not? And then how large is that responsibility?
So to some extent, there is a responsibility to share, because we're not islands in this world. We are together. And the closer the relationships, I think it's like we're with these people. We journey this life with people. God kind of orchestrates, whether we certainly don't choose our family by and large, right? A spouse, fine.
We should have a family switch, like sibling swap.
That's a new reality show coming this fall. But like, we don't primarily choose our family. So even our friends, even as much as we choose, but how many of our friends were because of we were coworkers, or we went to school together, and how many factors that were out of our control really led to that? If we really think about it, we don't make that many choices. We think we make choices, but how many of those choices were already pretty much set up and we're just like tapping it in? It's like a layup and boom. Like it's like best friends with the kid next door. Okay. All right. Think about that for a second, right? Even the school that you picked, the college that you picked, think of how did you get there? How much of that, based on your previous school, who chose that school? Your parents? It wasn't you. So much of life is out of our control. I'm only saying this to point out that, the people that we travel this lifetime with, travel through this life with, are the people that were meant to be there for each other. But at the same time, you can't live someone else's life. And I believe that the best influence, the strongest influence we can have on someone else is who we are. So like, I remember I was speaking with a college student at Emory. He came from a somewhat traditional family, but they weren't like, necessarily like observant of, everything and all this. And he was becoming, through Rabbi Lipsker and Miriam Lipsker, they were becoming at Emory, they were getting more, he was getting more into it and more observant. And then I got to know him because, whatever. I got to know him. We were learning together once in a while. And he asked me a question. He was going home for Passover, and he was concerned that his family would be annoyed that he was becoming so observant, so like religious. They're like, hey, take it easy. He was like concerned about that. I told him, I said, look, can't guarantee anything in life how someone else should react. But if you are a better person, a better son, a better sibling, right? If you're a better person, and they're like, wow. And he's been studying Judaism. Seriously. That's the best. If you come back and you're obnoxious and rude and judgmental of your family because they're not doing everything and now you are because you've seen the light, then guess what you're saying? That I started to connect with something that makes you judgmental and less of a mensch. Please, that is not the type of endorsements that anyone's looking for, right? The best role model is being a better person. Is that, again, going back to the integration. So we discover, we learn, and then we integrate it, and we really, honestly, generally become better people. Like, wow, look at this person. That's somebody I want to be around. And what's the secret sauce? Oh, they've been studying Judaism, they've been practicing Kabbalah, whatever it is. Boom. Let me in on that. I want to get some of that. So the best endorsement sometimes is just how we live our lives. No guarantees, but again, everyone finds their own path.
Not one of yours.
Not one of mine?
No.
Looks kind of like it could be. Let's see.
It's Myers.
Oh, nice. Flying tzitzis on the motorized scooter. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. All right. So where are we up to? We got the rutzo. You gotta have moments of, you gotta stretch. You can't just be complacent. Like, I'm okay. I'm a good person. I haven't killed anybody lately. Like, no scout. Like, haven't like swindled anybody. I haven't hurt anybody, at least not intentionally, right? I haven't, right? I'm living a good life. I'm okay. Good. It's all good. That's a lot of shuv, but you got to have a little, Ratzo. Ratzon is will. There's a different word. Ratzo means to run, to race, to aspire, to like chase something. We got to chase. We got to chase. But I didn't mean that the lulav had to chase the ground. Put it across the chairs. It'll be, or on the, yeah. So there you go. You gotta chase, right? You can't just be complacent. Let's talk about relationships for a second. Relationship's good. There's gotta be a little fire. There's gotta be a little excitement. If there's no, Kabbalah speaks of two types of love. There's love like water and love like fire. Love like water is serene and calm, steady. I don't mean like white water or level 4 that Yaakov is going to do later today in his kayak. That's something else. Too cold. That he won't do later today in his kayak because it's too cold. Right? I'm talking about like steady water. Contrast that with fire. Fire, unpredictable, passionate, right? Heat. It says like sibling love. You love your family, your sibling. It's like water. Steady, predictable. You're there for each other. Rabbi Isser's idea of the 4 relationships with the 4 kinds. Did you hear this one?
I think I was in the main show for that.
He said the Aravot are like siblings. It's the last one. After all is said and done, it's the last relationship we have. Oftentimes, not always. Our teachers, our parents, right? Who's the last one with us? The last thing you're holding on Sukkot is the tomorrow, Shana Rabbah. You whack the, sometimes we hit but Arvei, I was just thinking Arvei Nachal. It's the willow by the stream, right? By the river. It's the water. Anyway, water is complacent, steady, predictable. But some relationships, some love relationships need to have a little fire, need to have a little passion. That's the Ratzah. But it can't just be passion. It's got to have integration. If it's just the passion, it flames out very quickly. It's got to have the integration. It's got to have the application. Okay, so let's get back to this idea. Let's summarize it. So life is the dance between the run and the return, between the chase and the security, between the aspiration and the application. That's what life is. Life is this constant yin yang. I don't know if I'm using that term correctly, but this constant ebb and flow, contraction, expansion, tension, resolution. That's life. It's how the heart works. It's how the lung works. It's how, right, our respiration, our blood, everything works like that. Back and forth, back and forth. And it's true in a spiritual sense as well. We have to create moments in which we can expand, but also moments in which we bring it back. And so now let's get into our text. Now that we have 5 minutes left, we're going to read some of the original. Okay, Ellen, please take and pass. A few copies there. Leanna, please take and pass. All right, grab some water. Then we get started. All right. We're going to begin on page, I believe it's page 46. Let's check it out. It is page 46, in the middle of the page. And here we're talking about how to deal with the animal soul, which is really about dealing with the body. I mean, animal soul is pretty synonymous with the body itself. It's the part of us that by nature is a little lazy, a little self-centered, a little ego-driven, a little narcissistic. It's like, what, I want something higher than myself. This is good. Typically the body, right? The body, animal soul pulls downward. The soul, the godly soul pulls us up. That's the aspirational soul. The animal soul, another analogy of water, separate, aside from the love water that we spoke about a moment ago, it's the idea that water always seeks the lowest point. Water is never content being at the top of the mountain. If there's a mountain, if there's a slope, and you pour water down, it's going all the way down, right? Water is like the animal soul. It's like the body. It's always seeking the next lower thing, not higher thing, lower thing. It's like, if this was good, can you imagine what this would be like? Like really like getting into earthliness and physicality. So by nature, the animal soul pulls downward. Nefesh, there's a phrase from scripture that says, Ruach habehema, I forget the exact language. The spirit of the animal pulls down, the spirit of man, meaning the godly spirit, pulls upward. The key is, well, what if we gave the animal soul a taste of something higher? Can we get the animal soul excited about something a little bit greater than self? Or is it always going to be a tension pulling in opposite directions? Kabbalah believes that we can actually get the animal on board to get excited about something higher. Take a look. This is the last paragraph on page 46. We're going to pick it up from here. This is where we left off last time. And let's jump in. When one causes the animal soul to be in a state of ratzo, toward godliness, that means that rush, that run, that desire to connect toward God, its ratzo is so powerful that it transcends reason and logic. In other words, if you and I can get and not just on Yom Kippur, when we deprive the animal soul of food, we deprive the body of food and drink, then we feel excited. But if we can get the animal soul on a regular Monday with some bagels, lox, and cream cheese, and OJ, and coffee and tea for those brave enough to try the instant, right? If that's right, if we can get the animal soul on board as well, can you imagine how powerful that rush is? Because animals are stronger than humans. Let's continue. In addition to it affect, and it says it's so powerful that it transcends reason and logic, because animals are not rational. By and large, animals are emotional, and animals are powerfully emotional. Anybody have a dog? Yeah. Hebrew word for a dog is kelev. What is kelev an acrostic of? Kulo lev, or kolev, all heart, emotion, right? Loving, emotional. It's not, animals are not always so logical, right? Animals aren't necessarily figuring out mathematical formulas, but that's actually a positive thing. Because imagine if our rush for God was not about like, what are my neighbors going to say, right? Oh, how, what's my self-definition? How, like, what if it was a little less rational? What if it was like, let me lose myself in the moment, but not all the way. We always have to integrate it, but at least for a little bit, intentionally lose ourselves in the moment. That's where the animal comes in. Let's continue. In addition to it affecting the godly soul, that it too should possess this powerful ratzo, as elaborated elsewhere regarding the verse, my dove, you hide in the clefts of rock, show me your countenance. That's a verse I'm assuming from Song of Songs, Shir Ashir. I don't see the footnote. 73, is that correct? Song of Songs. Hey, listen, there's no other place in scripture that you're going to find the verse that says, my dove, you hide in the clefts of rocks, show me your countenance. I mean, hello, who's calling who a dove and who's saying, show me your face? That's the guy and the girl in Shir Ashir, Song of Songs. So let's continue. In addition to that, to affecting the godly soul, with every act of subjugation, rejecting the urges of the animal soul, page 48, the godly soul accumulates powerful spiritual light. This enhances his Torah study and service of God, which is prayer. So the point is that when we channel the force of our animal soul, our inner animal, to also be excited about the good things. So let me give an example. I used this example before, but I want to use it now again with this slight frame. Shabbat. So a person might say, oh, Shabbat, a day of, I'm going to take off work 1 day a week. Am I crazy? But I don't want money? Who does that? Take off a day of work? For what? Because the Torah says take off. Seriously, I got to pay my bills. What is this? That's the animal soul kind of, that's the fear of the animal soul. Remember, animal soul is fear-based, is emotion-based, fear-based. So it's like, oh, if I don't have this day, I'm going to lose. Okay, it's the animal soul. You tell the animal soul, take it easy, take it easy. What you think that every time you work, you get the money, and the money is spent on the things that you want to spend it on. How many times do we end up spending money on things that we would rather not spend money on? Right? A car repair, a home repair, a medical bill, God forbid, right? We don't have control over how we spend the money, even when we make the money. You start thinking about that. Tell the animal soul, you'll be okay. We'll make this work. You imagine, and then you tell the animal soul, and you know what the advantage of this is? Do you know how much better you're going to work 6 days a week if you take a day off and have some serenity? Do you know how much better your relationships will be? You know how much better your standing in the world will be with this 24 hours respite from the mishigas, from the craziness of the world. It's going to be amazing. Now the animal soul gets excited about Shabbos. Animal soul's like, hey, I need this. I need this. I'm going crazy. I'm going crazy. I'm being stretched, looking at my phone every 5 seconds. I need it. I need time off. Now you get your animal soul excited about Shabbos. Now you're set. Now you're set. Now there's no tension. So there's one way to do Shabbos where every single Friday you have to battle with yourself because your animal soul says, no, TikTok. Your godly soul says, no, Kabbalah Shabbat, prayers. And now you're fighting. But what if you were able to explain to the animal soul, to get it on internal dialogue, explain to the animal soul, this is in our best interest, your best interest too. Now the animal soul is on board. Now the animal soul wants to do this. Made in the shade. Literally, sukkah shade, right? Made in the shade. Let's continue. The breakthrough light of getting the animal soul on board is the brightest light. That's what we're about to say. 48-second paragraph. This spiritual light is the light of Noga. Now, some of you may be familiar with Klipat Noga. That is not the same. Noga here means, Klipat Noga. Klipat Noga is the shell that is Noga. This is Noga itself. Klipat Noga, so there, very, very briefly, there's holiness, and then there's Klipa, shell. Shell means that which conceals holiness. So like, for example, a box concealing what's inside. So you would look at it and be like, I don't see anything. Like we look at the world, we look at the table and say, I don't see God. I don't see God. Like, where's God? I'm looking around, I don't see God. Okay, that's a klipa, it's a shell. Open it up. Not that this is God, but stick with my analogy, right? There's something inside that might be hidden. So that's klipa. Some klipot, some shells, you cannot crack open. You have to reject. Those are the things that are forbidden. Things that are forbidden means God is inside everything, including evil, but we're not meant to engage. That's okay. Then you have the klipat noga. That's the translucent shell, a shell that you could peel or crack open and access. Those are the things that we do engage with. So you have those nice danishes, whatever that is, that stuff, cheese thing, right? Say a blessing over it, eat it, use the energy to study some Kabbalah. Perfect, amazing. You extract it, right? You broke open the shell using the energy for something positive. Klipat noga. That's klipat noga. That's the shell. But noga itself means shining. So sometimes a shell could be a shining shell, but noga itself means shine. So there's light, and then there's a light that shines. Now, there's all light shines, but there's a brighter light. And he's about to explain what that is. So let's go. This spiritual light is the light of Noga that is more powerful and luminescent than regular light. Just as the morning's first ray of light and the light of a rainbow shine brighter than regular sunlight. Listen, I don't know that anyone's measuring this with a thing, but that's what he's saying. Morning light is more powerful than regular light. Rainbow light, more powerful than regular light. Why? Because it's light that breaks through the darkness. The first rays of light in the morning broke through the night. The rays of a rainbow are breaking through the darkness of the cloud. When light breaks through, it becomes that much brighter. When we get the animal soul on board, when we get the enemy, as it were, our own internal, troublemaker on board with the spiritual stuff, right? When we get that, one second, when we get on board, right, when we get the animal soul on board, guess what happens? The light is that much brighter. So let's read this inside. This is the analogy of the light that results from the service of birurim, meaning the self-refinement, as elaborated elsewhere. On the words, they are full of radiance and emanate brightness. We say that on Shabbat, Meleim Ziv, Umefikim Noga. We say that every Shabbat morning, the idea of emanating brightness that is coming through the darkness. Just as it is when refining the animal soul, so it is when all physical and material matter is refined. The godly soul accumulates much spiritual light, as in the statement by the Talmudic sage Rava, wine and fragrance make a man's mind more receptive. I don't know if it's a man's mind makes a person's mind more receptive. Now, that's not necessarily saying that we should say l'chaim and drink a little schnapps or wine, before studying Kabbalah, right? Right now, my cup is little residual tea and some water. But the point is that sometimes things that are pleasurable and beautiful can also enhance our spiritual experience as well. That's the idea. There was a sage who said along these lines, the story goes, he was asked by one of his colleagues or students a question, he couldn't answer it. And then later on, he said, I have the answer. He said, what changed? I didn't have breakfast, right? Sometimes you need a little fuel. And so the question is, well, wait a second. So your mind became clear with some avocado toast? Is that how it works? Or whatever your jam is? Also? Oh, I don't mean physical. Okay, fine. That's on one level. But spiritually, it's that when we utilize the elements of the physical world for a higher purpose, that actually expands the godly soul's perception as well. So the working with the animal soul actually enhances the godly soul. You would think the godly soul is set. The animal soul, whatever. Let's make sure it's not getting in the way. No. If we can get it as an ally, bring it on board, then it enhances the godly soul. And the same thing is true with the stuff around us, right? Engaging with the stuff around us can actually feed our spiritual experience as well. Once again, this speaks to the integration that Kabbalah speaks of between the physical and the spiritual. It's never one or the other. It's never like I got to shun the material in order to have a spiritual experience. The greatest spiritual experience will come on the heels of somewhat of a physical experience. Let's continue. This is why, this is going to be the final paragraph for today. This is why Rebecca, right, biblical Rebecca, Rivka, wanted Jacob to be blessed specifically with these blessings of plentiful grain and wine. She wanted him to use them for the sake of heaven and thus accumulate great spiritual light. And the point here is that materialism is not the kryptonite of spiritualism. Sometimes we think, other traditions tell us that in order to be spiritual, you have to live a life of minimalism. You have to live a life that shuns the material, a life in which you live cloistered away in some sort of, place without any access to any material pleasure, family, whatever it is. And that's it. And then you're closer to God. And Judaism and Kabbalah says, wait a moment. The greatest spiritual experiences come when we engage in the material, use them for a higher purpose, thereby transforming them, and then leveraging the power inherent in the material, leveraging that for the spiritual as a boost, as rocket fuel for our spiritual experiences. Make sense?
Question.
Yeah.
How do I make sure that I don't make myself a slave to the material, though?
Good.
Or attach myself?
Good. That's the key. That's where the transformation comes in. In other words, you're asking the $1 million question, which is when we engage with the physical. So now we know we're meant to engage with the physical. Okay, great. But how do we make sure we don't get sunk into it? How do we make sure that we are the masters of it, meaning utilizing it for the good and positive and extracting the energy for the positive, as opposed to just sinking into the quicksand? So with this also, it's the similar meditation or similar process. Going into it with the right mindset. What am I going into it? I'm not losing myself in the experience, meaning I'm going into it with the mindset that this contains energy and potential that can be used for something positive. So on a very simple level, Kabbalah speaks extensively about food because it's one of the basic human experiences that involves physical things. And it's one that's very intimate in the sense that we literally consume it and it becomes part of our body. Very few things that we engage with literally become part of our bloodstream, right? Food is that, food and drink. So here's what it says in Kabbalah about food and drink. If we go in with the mindset that my intention here is to gain energy. Well, there's a few elements here. Well, let me take a half a step back. And by the way, we've had this in previous sessions. I recognize that the food, even though in the hierarchy of existence, human beings seem to be higher than the food, meaning we're higher than animals, we're higher than vegetation, we're higher than earth, even on a physical level, more or less. Nonetheless, I recognize and respect the fact that embedded within even the lower rungs of creation are the highest potential divine sparks. The highest energy falls the lowest, which means in the salad that I'm about to eat, or the avocado toast, as I mentioned before, or in the burger, whatever your jam is, right? Whatever you're eating. In this food is lofty divine sparks. But I will only access that if I recognize that it's inside the box. Meaning, I recognize that it's being enclosed with a shell. And I'm eating in order to extract the energy to fuel my body for me to do the next great thing. And I've said this 1,000 times, many times. It's similar to refueling our vehicles. It's similar to refueling a car, right? You're driving, the light goes on, or maybe before the light goes on, you see the fuel is going down. So what do? You pull into a gas station, or maybe you need an electric, same thing. You need to refuel. Why do you need to refuel? For the sake of refueling? I said this yesterday, I made a joke, like, who takes a selfie when filling up your car? No one. But who takes a selfie when eating? Everyone. It's interesting. Same thing, same purpose. But somehow when it comes to our vehicles, we get it. It's not about the fuel, it's about going. It's about getting the energy to keep it. I got to fuel up because I got more things to do. I got to get somewhere. But when it comes to food, which is really the same thing, it's not about the shell. It's not about how it looks or even so much how it tastes. It's about the energy inside. I'm unlocking the energy. I'm unlocking divine energy trapped, contained inside the food because I need it to fuel up to do the next mitzvah, to do the next good deed. So if that could be my meditation going in, it helps. I'm giving one example about food. It can help me from getting lost inside the experience. If I look at food as only the shell, this is an experience in which I'm going to get lost in. I'm at a 12-course taster experience, right? And it's all about the physical, the tastes and the smell and the presentation. I'm not trying to pour cold water on anyone's, I don't want to, as the kids say, or maybe people say, I don't want to yuck anyone's yum. I think they say that. I think it's an experience.
Wow,
It's an expression. Same right? It's not my intention. Just saying that that's an easy way to get sucked into the thing. Yeah, we're all, listen, it's not about not having fun and not enjoying things. You can also. But if you want to know what it means to like go into an experience and not get into the quicksand, it's going in with the right intention. It's recognizing what this is about, right? Whether it's food or anything else, it's about the connection. It's about a higher purpose. It can also taste good. Don't worry. The food can taste good. But ultimately, it's about the higher purpose of this experience. If we have that in mind, then we'll be able to come out of it in a way that's spiritually healthy.
If we say the blessing, but we don't have.
So 1 second. So hold on. Before you ask that, or alongside, because you're mentioning. So one way to do this is by reciting a blessing before we eat. saying, thank you, God, for the food. And immediately, before we eat, we've refocused our minds. I'm not just eating because I'm hungry. It's not just instinct. I'm acknowledging the creator who imbued this food with the energy that I need. And now, okay, now we're thinking. Now, so Yaakov is asking, but what if we're so used to saying the blessing that we're not even thinking about the meaning of it? My response would be, take another second, half a second. It's like the Olympics. Even 0.3 seconds makes a difference.
But if you don't, does that transformation happen of the energy?
You know what it says in Tanya? If we didn't have the intention, it doesn't get elevated. However, if we end up using the energy for something positive, it does get elevated. In other words, in the moment, we missed out on the opportunity.
To stay on track.
In the moment we missed out, without the intention, we missed out on the opportunity to mindfully elevate the moment. But on the back end, as it were, if at the end of the day, that energy did fuel us and we did study, pray, do positive things with that energy, then then it ended up being elevated.
Like you were saying, like about like so you're driving and two people get into a dispute in front of you, or you're anywhere and like something happens in front of you between two people arguing, and you could be like, oh, this is bothering my day. But it's funny because I was just thinking, I kind of get excited when I feel like there's an opportunity for a mitzvah, because if there's two people arguing in front of me, I'm like, oh, this is a chance to execute justice between two people. Like, this is a chance to help.
You're right, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Be careful. Just wield that gavel carefully, Ramon. I can't actually.
Staying away from an anger issue if it's.
Yeah, so sometimes, like you said, like there's the clipo that you kind of can't crack, right? You can stay away from that, right? But then sometimes there's chances where people are really like, hey, what do you like? Two people are really in an argument and they really, want your opinion, or you could really help mediate it or something like that. And those are good, and like just that change of perspective. And even when like someone cuts you off in traffic, being like, well, maybe that person really has to like get somewhere very, very
or maybe or you know what, Ramon, let me give you another piece of the arsenal. Here's another meditation. Maybe that person cut me off in order to get me triggered, so that I can have the opportunity of cooling myself off. By the way, this whole chapter, we just finished a chapter. This chapter 2, this whole chapter was opportunities to exert control over the animal, and then help reshape it. So I want to quickly 60-second summation of today, because if you paid attention, what we really did was two sides of the same coin. We started off, and this was the majority of the time, by saying that Judaism and Kabbalah emphasizes that even the highest of highs has to come down into integration. And then at the end, we said that even the lowest of the lows has to be brought up to the spiritual places. Even our physical experiences need to be tethered. It's about bringing the up down and bringing the down up. That is Judaism. That is Kabbalah. It's all about the integration, all about the synthesis between heaven and earth. We are an amalgam. We are a mixture of both. We have a body, we have a soul. We have an animal soul, we have a godly soul. However you want to slice it. Evil inclination, positive inclination, whatever language you want to use. At the end of the day, we are complex. That's why the tension, that's why life is so complicated. The goal is not to choose one over the other. Throughout history, many people have done that, saying I'm either going to be completely spiritual or completely physical, and it's one or the other. Judaism and Kabbalah teaches we need to integrate both. Not some for you, some for you. That's how some people do it, right? I'll break rules and then I'll pray about it. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is to recognize the highest of highs needs to be integrated, and the basic physical stuff needs to be elevated. Final word, Ellen.
Rahav, does it matter what language you say?
No, all prayers. God understands all languages. I might not, but God is way more talented than human beings. All right, make sense? Yes? All right, next week it's going to be phenomenal. Next week, we are going to begin chapter number 3. And in chapter 3, we address the question head on. Why was it that Jacob took the blessings from his father in a way of deceit? Why is it that he took it? Why is it that Rebecca, right, Isaac's wife, facilitated and orchestrated that her son Jacob should take the blessings in a way that was deceitful, in a way that wasn't straightforward, in a way that wasn't above board? Why did it have to be in a way that kind of pulled the wool over Isaac's eyes? And what does it mean for us? So come next week for a little deceit, treachery, and tomfoolery. All right, that's next week. Now, before next week, so just a quick reminder of the schedule. Today at 5 p.m., there is a huge Sukkot party in Toco Hills at Congregation Or HaTorah on La Vista Road. We're talking about rides for the kids, music for all ages. There's a concert. What else is there? Food, games, rides. Who knows? A full deal celebration. Come and dance and party like it's Sukkot, which it is. Interestingly enough, 5 p.m. That is today. Next, tomorrow night is Shmini Atzeret, is the holiday, which means that it's time to dance. Tomorrow night we dance with the Torah, solidarity, hakafot with Israel, because Israel has Simchat Torah tomorrow night. We have Shmini Atzeret, but we also dance with the Torah. Chabad at least does. We dance with the Torah tomorrow night. And then Tuesday, that's Monday night. Tuesday day is Yizkar, the memorial prayer for those that we've lost. Family members, that is Tuesday morning, 11 a.m. or so, 11:30. Tuesday night is Simchat Torah, all-out celebration, food and beverage of all flavors, right? L'chaims, etc., and dancing all night. And then Wednesday is dancing all day, and Wednesday night, hopefully, we remember who we are and we can integrate it, all of the joy with our everyday experiences. So that's this week. A few quick announcements about upcoming stuff. Number one, a week from today, we have this incredible event called Faith, Medicine, and Miracles with Ariella Kamen, a young woman who is from one of the first people in the world to have a uterine transplant. She was unable to have children. Last year, a year ago, this October, so last year, she gave birth to a baby girl. And it is a modern day medical miracle. She's going to speak about her story, her personal journey through all of the ups and downs, trials and tribulations, finding out her diagnosis, etc., and then finding the hope, staying faithful, having faith in God, etc. So that's going to happen next Sunday evening. The event is free, open to the entire community. Please join. It's going to be very powerful. And of course, one more plug, not one more, I will do more, but once again, a plug for the new Kabbalah series, the 6-part series called the Kabbalah of Meaning, Jewish Wisdom for Finding the Purpose that Connects All Parts of Life, starting Wednesday, October 29th. If you've ever wanted to gain more focus in Kabbalah, specifically in the realm of meaning and purpose, which we touch on certainly in different contexts, but a course dedicated to that, Kabbalah of meaning and purpose, this is your course. 6 weeks, I will be teaching it, and it will be an honor to have you at the course.
Are you going to be on Zoom too?
Yes, I teach it by day, I teach it at night. I teach it live, I teach it on Zoom. And if you can't catch 1 week, it'll be recorded and audio and video will be sent out to participants. So you almost can't miss it if you wanted to. And if you still miss it, I send carrier pigeons with the information. I don't, but I could. I can't, but I might consider. All right, that's it. Good. We'll see you. Moed Tov. Chag Sameach, everybody. Happy Sukkot. Thank you. Good to see you, Dr. Maxey and Frank and Renata. Hey, Chag Sameach. Natan, great to see you guys. All right. Take care, everybody. Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach. Thank you.
Pleasure. Great.